Hello. Today we're going to be taking a look at the three new units we got for the Egg Seekers event. Freyivia Xon and Aiden. So I guess we'll start with the big mama 5-star that goes into 6-star. Freyivia, and her role is a hybrid damage dealer. So I don't know exactly how well she's going to work because right now in global, hybrid damage isn't the greatest thing. It's not the greatest thing. So the problem with hybrid damage right now is that it takes your attack stat, compares it to the enemy's defenses, and then takes your magic stat and compares it to the enemy's magic defenses. And it doesn't really average them out, but it's basically like averages them out a little bit in the damage formula for all intents and purposes. So what happens is it's very hard right now in global to stack a bunch of attack and a bunch of magic on the same unit, right? To do that, you need like multiple power creation TMs that give both attack and magic plus 30%, gear that gives both attack and magic on it at the same time, which Freyvia's TM actually does. Her sword works very well with her, but there's not very many like body pieces or helms or basically body pieces, helms, and materia. Like you can equip like heroes rings and stuff, I guess, to her because those boost both attack and magic. But typically, it's pretty hard to get the full effect out of a hybrid damage dealer. They make it a little bit easier to do so with Fryevia, with some of her passes we'll go over. So we'll go down. We'll look at some of her stats here. At 6-star, she's got 3.7 thousand base HP, which is it's okay. It's alright. It's a little low, but it's not bad. Actually, maybe that's better than I think it is. I don't know if Wiki here. Shout out to Wiki, by the way. I don't know if Wiki here applies their passives into this number here. So we'll be able to find out real easily. I'll just go look at Fryevia here. I think this is with her passives applied. So a little low on the HPs here, Fryevia. 145 attack, not the worst thing ever. A little bit lower than some of the other attackers in the game right now, especially since I don't think she'll be using dual wield. Maybe it will be better to use dual wield with her, but probably not because of her passives. Her magic stats 145, same as her attack, so they're really pushing for that hybrid damage dealer, making her attack and magic equal. And then here's her maximum pot stats, 34 attack, so she'll have 179 attack and 171 magic with full pots. So already showing a little discrepancy between her attack and magic even in her base stats here. No elemental resistances or status element resistances. Weapons, she can only use a sword. Awesome, which is fine, I guess, because the only sword you want her to use is her own TM. So, or an enhancer, which is like a worse version, or a lesser version of her sword, which is Freyvia's needle. We'll go over that in a second. Armors, hats, helms, clothes, light armor, heavy armor, robes, and accessories. So, a pretty good selection of armor here, actually. The weapon selection doesn't really matter because there's only one weapon you want her to use anyway. And we'll go down to her abilities here. She has a really interesting kit, I think, and the effectiveness of her kit will really depend on how well she can effectively do hybrid damage. So, Osmos Blade, typical Osmos Blade, nothing really to write home about. She can heal our MP a couple of times a fight. It's not bad. Saber Flunge, 2 times hybrid damage to one enemy. Not the greatest amount of damage ever, because that is a low multiplier for a hybrid attack. Remove all status effects from one enemy. So pretty good against bosses who buff themselves, but keep in mind that it would also remove all of your own debuffs on the boss, all of your breaks. Like full break, obviously. So probably won't be a move that gets used that much. Ice Block, reduce all damage taken by 75% for 1 turn. You can kind of liken it to like a jump effect. that doesn't take up your next turn, so you can use it to, you know, you don't fully avoid damage from a monster's big kitty move. Like if you're doing like the Ifrit raid event, like you could use this every turn he was about to plume, so you would, for that turn before he plumes, you know, hunker down, take no damage from the plume, and then be okay after that. So it allows you to play really safe. It's a good move. Nice to have in her kit. Ice Age, decrease attack 50% for 3 turns to all enemies, and increase ice resistance 70% for 3 turns to all allies. So it's very nice that she has a 50% attack break that's AoE. That's very nice. And then the ice resistance, if you're up against a boss that you really need ice resistance for, she can do that as well as breaking the attack. Usually you won't be able to have an encounter where both of these are effective. Like, you would need a boss that you want to break its attack and resist its ice at the same time. So it's okay. It's nice to have in her kit. It doesn't make her like the best unit ever. So we'll go down to Frost Saber. 2.5 ice hybrid damage. Adds ice element to physical attacks for 5 turns to the caster. Not really that useful, since you won't really be auto attacking with her much, and all of her moves that she uses outside of the next one, second intention, are already ice hybrid damage anyway. So I don't really see a reason to use this. And then you have second intention, which here's a decent multiplier for a hybrid damage deck. Hybrid damage 6 times to one enemy, which is a single hit, so it's very useful for finishing a chain, which is something that she does do very well, is finish chains. Now, a 6 times multiplier sounds super high, like ridiculously high, but you have to keep in mind that it is hybrid damage. So you're taking that 6 times multiplier and comparing it against both of the target's defense and magic defense, which really cuts down the damage that you're doing. Frost Flash, hybrid ice damage, 4 times all enemies with a 30% chance to inflict paralyze. Pretty good. The multiplier here is the same as like Noctis's Ice Flask, or Frost Flask, whatever, Blizzard Flask. It's the same as Blizzard Flask's multiplier. All of Noctis's flasks have a 4.0 hybrid damage multiplier. Which is like good for arena and stuff, but if you ever use a Noctis, you know how fast his damage with flasks can fall off into the late game. Hers shouldn't fall off as much because of her passes, which we'll get to in a couple seconds here, but it still shouldn't be the greatest thing ever. And then inflict paralyze, 30% chance on all enemies. Pretty strong. Most endgame bosses, if you're trying to do, you know, like elite mode boss events, like they're gonna usually be immune to paralyze anyways. You know, like how Ifrit was immune to paralyze on elite but not on pro. Stuff like that. And then you have Frostflower Blitz, which is her strongest move. 8.0 hybrid ice damage. And then decrease ice resistance 50% for 3 turns to one enemy. And I believe this shares the same attack frames as like Orlando's, I'm gonna call it Holy Explosion, but I think it's Ruinous Omen. I think it's Ruinous Omen, or that Diablos. Orlando has Ruinous something. Whatever, the thing where he throws little meteor balls of holy. It's got the same attack animation as that move, so it can chain with him actually decently well. You won't elemental chain unless you have him equipped with an ice weapon for some reason, or have her equipped with a holy weapon such as Excalibur, which I guess you could do that instead of using her own TM sword. But oh wait, no, you can't actually put Excalibur on her because she can't use great swords. Rip. So you'd have to have an ice great sword on Orlando to elemental chain. So not the greatest thing ever, but still an option. But this move is just like Holy Explosion on Orlando, or Ruinous, whatever it's called. Alright, then we go into her passives here, which is, I think where a lot of the strength of this unit comes from, and this might be why she might be able to actually use hybrid damage effectively. It's really hard to tell since we haven't had a unit that is actually focused on doing hybrid damage in global yet. Like, some units have had hybrid damage, but no one's ever been like, it's never been their shtick. It's never been the thing that they've been created to do. It's always been something thrown on the side. So we have Pride of Fryevia, which is attack and magic 30% increase when equipped with a sword. Awesome. So just like I was talking about earlier, like power of creation type TMs from like Maxwell and stuff, with things that hybrid damage dealers need are abilities like this that increase both their attack and their magic, because their moves are being compared to both the enemy's defense and magic defense. So they need boosts on both of their attack stats. Magic plus 30. Okay. And MP plus 30%, ice resistance, fine. Get that MP up, sure. Flash Step's actually pretty useful. Chance to evade physical 20% and magic by 20%. Not bad. And then we have Duelist Pose. So boost equipment attack, so it's the attack value on your equipment by 100%. This is not your base stat attack value. This is everything you have on your equipment. So like your sword, if it gives you 90 attack, instead gives you 180. Stuff like this. So you want to single wield with this unit. And then it also boosts your magic by 50% of whatever is on your equipment as well when single wielding. And so this is like one of my problems with her in hybrid damage in general, is that it's much easier to get a super high attack stat on her, because you get 100% bonus attack from all of your gear versus a 50% magic. So you want to just like pile on, if you're using TMs, you want to pile on like Bracer from Gafarian, put on her sword, put on like Demon Mail, put on whatever like Hayate Cap, because they give you such a benefit. You get double the stats of those items, but none of those items have magic on them. So like your attack goes way up high, your magic doesn't so much. So your damage doesn't go as high with her hybrid moves as it should, because your magic's still weak, or at least way weaker than your attack is. And if you kind of try to compromise with that by putting some magic gear on, you're not gaining as much of a bonus from your magic gear, so your attack falls by a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if there's some sort of weird combination of gear that makes her do a bunch of damage. But I'm kind of wary of it right now. So we have the next passive is Royal Blood. Increased resistance to blind paralysis and confused by 100%. Super good. Always good to have those things. Especially paralyzing fuse. Sadly, Stone's not on here. Petrify, but whatever. Icy Aura, 7% MP recovery per turn, which is notably better than the 5% that some units get in auto refresh. So this is good. Her strong move, Frost Flower Blitz, is 55 MP, so this will help you keep chaining those Frost Flower Blitzes. And then we have I Shall Not Lose, which is a chance to ignore fatal damage. So it's a 100% chance to ignore fatal damage when your HP is above 20%. So I would have to believe that this will not protect you from a bunch of small consecutive hits, but is meant for obviously one large hit. So like if the boss hits you like 5 times for 2,000 each, and it takes you from 100 to 79 to 59 to 49 to 29 and then to 9, and then like the 6th hit, this won't stop it because it's 6 small hits. But if the boss hit you for 50% of your HP and then another 50% of your HP, you just don't take damage from the second one. So a pretty strong passive, prevents you from getting like one shot basically, as long as the hits are large, singular strokes. Big ol' slap across the face. Alright, we have Ice Prison as her limit burst. Hybrid ice damage 4 times all enemies, inflicts stop 60% for 3 turns on all enemies. Not the greatest thing ever. You'd wanna use this on a boss almost never, I think, because the damage is really low and you probably can't stop that boss anyways. So yeah, that is her. She looks really cool. She looks pretty strong. And the reason I can't really say like how good she is because I don't really know the hybrid damage formulas that well. Oh, in her trust mastery is Freyvia's Needle, which is actually, this is why it's so strong on her. It's a sword that gives 92 attack, which is, you know, it's not 120 like Excalibur, yada yada, but also gives 112 magic. So since she's a hybrid damage unit, she wants as much attack and magic combined as she can, and this is the most attack and magic you can find on any single weapon in the game. And then her passive wants to equip a sword, so put on her own TM, and then her passive for having a sword equipped will double each of these stats. So this will give you 184 attack and 224 magic, which is pretty good for a single piece of gear on your character. Next we'll go with Xon. We'll look at Xon here. I believe his name is Xon. Can't think of any other way to support his name. Pronounce his name. Getting delusional, getting sick. Alright, we got 3.5k HP. I believe this is not counting his passives. Okay. 142 MP, whatever. 140 attack. Not the lowest, but not the highest. 124 defense, pretty low. 120 magic, which I think is irrelevant. 116 spirit, sure. Get 34 more attack from attack pots, so that brings him up to 174, which is pretty. It's okay, it's almost there. Like a lot of the 5-star damage dealing units will end up at like 185-ish main, or not main stat, I guess main stat, but base stat. After being fully potted. No resistances, no status element resistances. They have knives, swords? Is that a sword? Sword, throwing weapons, and hand-to-hand fist weapons, and then hats, light armor, and accessories. Sure. Alright, let's go through his skills here. He's kind of an interesting unit too. They have Waylay, which is just low damage, chance to steal from all enemies. It's cool, but like it's nothing that makes you go, man, I really need that unit. So yeah. Then Escape. Awesome. Great. Alright, Sneak Attack. Physical damage 2.5 with Ignore, defense 35%. So 3.85 total, kindly written in here for us. To one enemy, and then decrease the defense and spirit of 30% for 2 turns to yourself. Why would you ever want to cast this? It's not even that strong of a move. Okay, great. So not looking too good for our man Xon so far. Toxic Dagger, fixed damage. So automatically does 2,500 damage and always poisons the enemy, assuming that they are not immune to poison. Okay. Alright, then we have Lilo. This is where it starts getting interesting. It removes all status effects from the caster, and then you remove yourself from battle for 1 turn. So it removes you from battle for 1 turn, but it prevents you from doing anything for 2 turns, because you're spending a turn to use this, and then you're not doing anything the next turn. You can't be hit the next turn, but you also ain't doing anything. So, And this kind of sets up how they, I guess, designed this character to operate, which you'll see here in the next 3 moves. So physical damage 4.8 times to one enemy with a 100% chance of paralysis, and then increases the chance of being targeted by 100% for 2 turns to yourself. So this is a pretty big multiplier, and it's a singular hit, so you can finish a chain with this pretty well. But not as well as his next move. Physical damage 5 times with it says with critical hit, so I'm assuming with an automatic critical hit. But it has a 25% chance to fail, to miss. But then it also decreases your attack and defense by 50% for 2 turns. So these 2 moves, I guess, were designed to be working with Lilo, where you do a big hit, finish a chain, and if the monster's alive, next turn, if you don't die from having 50% reduced defense, you can lie low, where you remove all your debuffs that you put on yourself, and then remove yourself from battle for 1 turn. At best, in my opinion. This seems cool. That's a huge multiplier, and even if you assume that you always hit, So you physical damage 5 point with a crit. That's really strong. You finish the chain with that, so it's probably dying, right? So maybe all of this other stuff doesn't matter. But if you don't kill it, then you're either eating this attack defense debuff, or you're spending a turn using Lilo, and then you're spending the next turn being invisible. So you attack one time and then do nothing, and then attack one time, do nothing, do nothing. So you're spending 3 turns basically to do this one move. I'm not really sure it's worth it. This other move, you don't get the debuff, but he might die because he's not a tank and he has 100% provoke. Hopefully your Cecil covers him a bunch, or he dodges it with his dodge passives. I don't know. And then I'm assuming as well, because we're getting into the passives. Oh no, well, Twist of Fate. Probably his most useful / at least useful move is Twist of Fate. So it copies all the positive status effects from an enemy and then puts them on all of your allies, which is actually like, oh, then it removes all status effects from one enemy. So this is really strong against enemies who have like massive status effect buffs. If you fight an enemy that's like, oh, I'll give myself plus 100 attack defense, magic spirit. You're like, okay, you have Xon, you Twist of Fate, you take that buff off, put it on your whole team. Okay, that's really strong. And then it takes the buff off of them, doesn't just copy it. But the downside to this move being, it also removes, it says all status effects, so I'm assuming it removes all positive and negative status effects. So if you've used Full Break, you've used Lightning Flask, Warp Break, Ling's Dances, all of the breaks in the game, you'll have to reapply them. So, and then on top of that, it's only good if you're fighting a boss who obviously uses, buffs on themselves. If you're not fighting a boss who buffs themselves, then you'll never use this move in that encounter. So you'll be back to using Desperate Strike and Rash Impulse and Lilo, and trying to get some damage out of him, where you might do like huge spiky damage, but another unit might give you more damage over time because they can attack every turn instead of just one hit, nothing. With that being said, he is a super strong chain finisher. Like, that is a huge multiplier. Oh, and if you're dual wielding with him, the second hit on Desperate Strike will do less than the first hit, because the second hit will have the attack defense debuff. So double hand, maybe? Double hand a normal sword? I don't know, man. I don't know about that. So then we have Concealed, which decreases chance of being targeted by 80%. I don't think this actually helps you counter the Rash Impulse, because the way buffs work in this game, whatever the strongest effect is takes precedence. But I'm not sure, since one is decreased, the other is increased. So if this reduces it by 80 and this increases it by 100, does it make you have a 100% chance to be targeted or a 20% chance to be targeted? If it's 20, then this move gets a lot better. Just spam this every turn for almost no downside. So I'm thinking it's not the case, and I'm thinking that this Concealed will be overwritten by Rash Impulse, and he'll just have a 100% chance to be targeted. If you have any confirmation on how that works, leave a comment down there. Let me know. We have Steel Gill, yay. 10% attack, yay. Nothing amazing. Increased success rate of stealing by 100%, okay. Like, these are all cool things, but this is a damage dealer that doesn't have a lot of damage dealing passives. Evade physical attacks by 20%, useful. Alright, I won't talk shit about this one, because randomly dodging things can make or break a fight, depending on how geared you are and what the boss decides to do. 20% HP, sure. Increased defense by 50% for 2 turns when your HP drops below 30%, and increases your crit chance by 30% for 2 turns when your HP drops below 30%. I've never really liked these passives, because you can't count on them, obviously, because they're random, right? Like, So, plus, like, this defense one's pretty much irrelevant. You should have like Embolden or Protect or something up anyway. So, like, you should already have a defense buff. It might be slightly weaker. It might be 40 or 45% instead of 50, but this passive is giving you 5% defense sometimes. Okay. The crit chance buff's pretty cool, but it's nothing you can really rely on. When it happens, and it's cool. The sad thing about it is, though, is that the crit chance buff doesn't work with his hardest hitting move, so I don't know, because this automatically crits. I guess if you get the crit chance buff, you can just start spamming Rash Impulse, which would be pretty strong, especially if Concealed works. You know, you get hit really hard, you just start spamming Rash Impulse. Yeah. Or maybe if Concealed doesn't work, nah, you don't want to build. Yeah. If Concealed doesn't work and he gets targeted by like 5 moves from a boss, he's just gonna die unless he like randomly dodges them all. There's no way. And then Master Thief increases drop rate of treasures. So you have 1, 2, 3 passives that are for treasures. This is a lock 2.0. You know, I kind of wish they would roll all of these into one passive and then give him like 2 more passives to increase his attack. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Then we have his LB. Physical damage 3.11 enemy inflicts stop 70% for 3 turns. Evade 2 physical damage attacks. Low multiplier. Stop doesn't really matter against bosses. And if stop does matter against bosses, just like bring a friend who can stop them without their limit break and just win the fight, I guess. Well, that sounds kind of cocky, but like, what was the last time you could stop a boss? And then evade 2 physical damage attacks, which is okay. It's okay. It's not the greatest thing ever. So that's Xon. Oh, we have his TM. I almost forgot. I don't really like patches, but we'll go over it. Oh, he's also a 4-star unit. That goes up to 6-star. So at least he's not a 5-star unit. All right, patches. Really weird. It's an accessory. Attack, magic, defense, and spirit all plus 15. So not bad. Not bad. Then this additional effect is chance to counter attacks with one of these random blessings, and the chance to counter is 15%. So when you counter, after the counter procs, you have a 50% chance for that counter to heal you for 250 HP and give you 10 MP. Okay, pretty underwhelming for a TM. 30% chance to give you 60% bonus attack and reduce your damage or your defense by 30% for 2 turns. Sounds kind of strong, but you should already have like a 40% minimum attack buff up anyway, so you're using a TM that sometimes will give you 20% more attack, I guess? Maybe? Not really useful. And then you have 20% chance of the time the counter will be vengeful, which allows you to use this move called Avenging Blow, which is just, I'm assuming it's a 1-hit? 6.0 physical damage multiplier? That's hard. That's a hard hit. So this is what you want to be happening right here if you're using this TM. You know, you want this giant monster hit. But the odds of you ever getting this to go off is so low. Like, your unit has to be getting hit. It says counterattack, so I'm assuming it's physical or magical, so he has to be getting hit. Then for each hit you take, you have 50% chance to use a counter, and then when that 50% chance procs, you have another 20% chance for the counter to actually give you Avenging Blow, and then you can use it the next turn. Yeah, that's a lot of work for something that might not ever happen, and it's a TM. Like, you just put another strong accessory in that slot that'll just always give you a bonus. You know, so not really my favorite thing. And then we have my boy Aiden. My boy Aiden, the unit I was the most excited for on this banner. Not because he's particularly good or anything, but because I like his TM a whole hell of a lot. Alright, we'll do that last though. Alright, so Aiden, 3-star base, goes up to 5. So you'll never use him in endgame unless you're like new to the game, because he doesn't have a 6-star. Case, like, point. Just period. Just period. You'll never use him after you've been able to get some 6-star units. Before that, he might be okay. Let's find out. 2.7 thousand HP. That's low, but it's also a 5-star base. He's squishy. He's a squishy man. 110 MP. That's a low amount of MP for a healer. Attack doesn't matter. Defense 91, low, but he's a healer. What do you expect? Magic 86, low, but also he's a healer. So yeah, 104 spirit, sure. I don't recommend potting him. Save your pots for other units, so this is kind of all irrelevant stuff, but as you can see, 16, 16, 16, 24, 40 MP and 240 HP. If you fully pot his HP, still doesn't even break 3k. So, bleh. All I have to say is blah. No resistances, no ailment resistances. Daggers. Oh no! We clicked on daggers. Daggers, stabs, and rods. Hats. Clothes. Light armor. Robes. Accessories. Access to 8-star white magic and 5-star black magic. Alright, Aiden doesn't have very many moves. These are Aiden moves. Right here. Done. He has no moves. Alright, so we have Furious Raise. A probably worse than Raise. Raise is normally 30% revive. This is you randomly either heal someone at 60% chance for 10% of their HP, or 40% of the time, you will full heal them. I don't like random effects, so I don't think it's that good. Especially since this is an ability and not a passive or a magic spell. You can even like dual cast it if you randomly had dual cast, but are still using a 5-star healer for some reason. Yeah. His other ability looks pretty strong. Randomly use 50% heal. Alright, so it's like a Kira. Is it Kira? Is this a Kira level here? Right here? It's like a Kiraga level heal, 800 HP with a 3 times multiplier. It's a yeah. It's a slightly stronger than Kira, twice as strong as Kira level heal. That also gives you an attack and defense 40% buff for 3 turns to all allies. And the other half of the time, it's a 50% chance. Although the other half of the time, it's a 50% chance. It's a 1500 base, 3 times multiplier heal for all allies, which is actually, I think, stronger than Kiraja. And then increases your magic and spirit by 40% for 3 turns. So, if you're new to the game and you have no healer that's super good, like Fryevia, or you didn't manage to get Y'shtola, which is sad. I feel sad for you. You have my condolences if you're new and didn't get Y'shtola. My heart goes out to you. And you have no one on your team that uses buffs. This isn't bad. This gives him something to do first turn. Unlike most healers, you need to spam banish something. You know, heal everyone that's at full. Just get one of these 2 buffs. Fine. 20% HP, 10% defense, and then chance to counter physical attacks with a counter that heals your MP. Also for magic attacks, 20% chance. Okay. Emergency regen. Cast regen on yourself when your HP drops below 10%. This should never happen. Ever. Because even if you're fully potted, like I said before, you don't break 3000 base health. So in order for this to even proc, you'd have to hit like 300 HP. And if you hit 300 HP as a like 200 HP regen, really gonna matter anyway, so this ability's irrelevant. 10% more defense, and then 20% more spirit. And this activated this thing right here, this heal MP, recover 20 MP. This is from Mind Shield. So the counter's 20 MP, so it's a pretty weak MP counter. Then he gets Asuna, Kira, and Kira. He doesn't even get Kiraja. So your heal is this burst heal thing. Spam this every turn. It's pretty expensive actually, 38 MP. That's 8 MP more than dual casting of Kiraja, or 2 Kirajas every turn. So yeah, this guy's not very good, but he has some niche uses if you're like brand new to the game. This is like your first banner or whatever. But hopefully you were here for Y'shtola and could have gotten Y'shtola. Maybe had someone carry you, or you got lucky and got her because she's really strong. Explosive heal, max 800. Well, not. Okay, we'll look at base 5-star. 800 HP heal, 800 base with a 1.6 multiplier. Increase your resistances by 20% to all elements. Great. It's literal Garbo. So why was I excited for this guy? Let's check this out right here. Bam. Damn, it's 3%. Garbo. Is it really good? Maybe this TM's Garbo. Maybe I was tricked. Still not bad. Hold on. Well, let's check what all the other auto refreshes are. Alright. I don't know why this is listed at 3%, but maybe someone knows something I don't. Even if it is 3%, still pretty strong. So his TM here is a robe. 40 defense, strong for a robe. 35 spirit, not bad for a robe. Additional effect, auto refresh. This page says 3%, this other page says 5%. It just says that auto refresh is always 5%. So we'll have to find out. I'm assuming it's 5, and this is just wrong because this is a new page, but maybe it's 3. But even if it's 3, he's really easy to get because he's a 3-star base. I got him on my first daily pull. Yay me. I mean, your mileage may vary, obviously. But it is a pseudo free TM. So like if you get the unit with this event going on, you know, you're farming your metal eggs, you're pulling for red and blue eggs and rainbow eggs out of the banner. Yeah, what is this event called? Easter. I'm just called the Easter banner. The Egg Seeker's banner. That's what it is. You're mass pulling to craft all these other items that you can get before the event. Well, you're gonna get a bunch of the TM Moogles. You know, while you're getting the red and blue eggs, you get a bunch of the Investment of Mine TM Moogles. And if you have, you know, like one of Aiden, you know, you just need 20 to pull 20 of the TM Moogles. I think I've barely done the event. My Aiden's like 20% on his TM already. So if you're new, get this guy. Try to. Don't spend everything going for him though. I'd do a couple of pulls maybe, see if you can get lucky and get him. Especially if this auto refresh is only 3. I think it's 5 though. But auto refresh is so good. You'll never run an MP. I have just a Soul Lunar Ring on my healer right now, and she literally can't run out of MP. All she does every turn is just dual cast Kiraja. She goes down by a little bit of MP every turn. By the time the fight's over, she's still at like 200 something. So auto refresh broken. All you need to do is pull the unit, do the event, get a free TM. Also worth noting, if you're planning on doing Warrior of Light tank, this is a very nice body, a very free robe. If you're planning on doing the Y'shtola Shard of Genius tanking Warrior of Light strategy, which if you don't know, Shard of Genius is a stackable TM that gives you 20% spirit when you have a staff equipped and 20% defense when you have a robe equipped. Throw this robe on your Warrior of Light, gives him auto refresh, gives him decent defense, decent spirit. Craft the staff from the event, which has 40 spirit and 20 defense on it, and then just put on some Shard of Genius TMs. Now your Warrior of Light is rolling in spirit and in defense and has auto refresh. He's ready to tank the shit out of the world. In between his passive and auto refresh, he should never run out of mana because he has a chance on being hit with magic, I think, to get MP back. So between that proccing every once in a while and auto refresh, just sit there and provoke and spam his breaks, his AoE OP breaks. So if you're planning on using him down the road when his 6-star enhancement, or not his enhancement, but his 6-star version comes out, I would try to get one of these vestments. It's not too hard. So that was this banner. These banner units. Xon. I don't really like Xon. He seems like too much work. Too much work for what he accomplishes. It's like best case scenario you do with Xon is you're super overgeared, like super over geared, and you just simply one shot things as a chain finisher with him. But like if you're so geared up and you're that geared up where you're one shotting things with him, you could probably just one shot things with a different character anyway. And if you're not one-shotting things with him, then a different character probably does more damage over the course of 3 turns than Xon will, where he does a lot of damage and then hides. So, yeah, I don't like Xon. Aiden, if you're brand new to the game, he's usable. If you have literally any other healer out, well, that's halfway decent. I wouldn't bother leveling him up. I would try to get him for his TM. I think his TM is really strong. But that's about it. Also, Xon's TM I don't like at all. It's too RNG for me. And then Fryevia. She seems really strong, but like hybrid damage is just I don't know what to say about it. So hold on, actually Wiki here has the formula for hybrid damage. Mechanics. Alright, and then we can go to physical damage. You can see how physical damage calculated here. So it's your attack squared divided by the enemy's defense, and then you just multipliers of physical killer effects, yada 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 yada. Alright, so then we have, you know, hybrid damage, which is your attack squared divided by the defense plus all of your stuff for physical damage. Magic damage is your magic squared divided by their spirit times your killer effects. I don't know why this is here. Physical killer effects don't apply to magic damage. Wiki, what? This shouldn't be here. It should just be, maybe magic killer effects should be here. That's not how that works. Anyway, and you have hybrid damage, which is your physical damage plus your magic damage divided by 2. So you take your attack squared divided by the enemy's defense, take your magic squared divided by the enemy's spirit, and then you take your physical damage and the magic damage, which is the numbers you get from doing those 2 previous calculations, and then just divide them by 2. So that's really the problem with hybrid damage, is that like it does a full physical damage attack and then a full magic damage attack and then adds them together and then divides it by 2. So the problem with that being is if you have a really high attack value, this physical damage value is going to be super high, right? Because your attack's so high compared to the enemy's defense. But if you have a lower magic, you're not gaining that much here, you know, so you're going to get, you know, whatever this value is. If you have like a 900 attack and like 400 magic. Whoops, like your 400 squared divided by their spirit's gonna be way less, obviously, than 900 squared divided by their defense. So you're not benefiting too much from this magic damage right here. So this magic damage going to this hybrid damage formula is gonna be much lower than this physical damage. So then you add them up and then you just divide it by 2 again. So like if say you do like 100,000 physical damage with your physical portion, 100,000 physical, and then like 40,000 with your magic damage, you'll have 140,000 divided by 2 and end up at 70k. When if it was just a physical skill, you would have had 100,000. So you're actually doing 30,000 less damage because it's a hybrid move. But hopefully I didn't bore you too much. But that's my reservations on Fryevia. I do believe somewhere down the line, we might not get it over here, but JP got it, like an update to how hybrid damage was calculated. So she might become way better then. And she might not even be bad now because these multipliers are so high. But I think the multipliers are so high because it's trying to balance out the fact that, you know, hybrid damage pretty much gets a little screwed on the damage calculation part. But yeah, that was these 3 units. Hopefully you guys, you know, found this a little interesting, maybe found some information you were looking for, maybe an opinion you were looking for. Maybe it prevented you from splurging on a banner that you really didn't know about. Maybe it caused you to splurge on a banner that you weren't sure about. But I hope you guys have a good one, farm all those eggs, and I'll see you guys later.